Imagine watching yourself die. Not in a dream, not in your future, but right now, in a timeline that exists parallel to this one. Scientists now believe that when you travel through time, you're not visiting your past. You're jumping into someone else's present, which means the version of 1900 you'd visit, it was never your history to begin with. And if that's true, then everything we thought we knew about time travel is completely wrong. In this video, we're dismantling the biggest misconception about time travel, that you can rewind to your past and change your history. Instead, I'll show you what physicists are proposing. Time travel is dimensional jumping between parallel worlds. We'll cover the grandfather paradox that destroyed the old model, how the fourth dimension changes everything, and the parallel worlds breakthrough that solves it all while revealing something far stranger about reality. This isn't science fiction. This is theoretical physics. And by the end, you'll understand why infinite versions of you are living infinite lives right now. For decades, we imagined time travel the same way. Build a machine, set the dial, travel backward along your timeline to your past. One timeline, one history, one past you could visit or change. There was just one problem. This model is logically impossible. Here's the thought experiment that proved it. You travel back to 1945. You find your grandfather before he's married. You prevent him from ever meeting your grandmother. If he never has children, your parent is never born. If your parent is never born, you're never born. But if you're never born, you never traveled back to prevent it. So he does meet her. You are born. You do travel back. And you prevent it again. An infinite loop. A logical impossibility. The grandfather paradox. Physicists tried 3 solutions. 1. Self-consistency. You can observe but not interact. But what force prevents interaction? 2. Predestination. You were always meant to go back. But this eliminates free will. 3. Timeline protection. The universe stops you through coincidence. But what mechanism enforces this? None worked. Each created more problems. For years, this paradox seemed to prove time travel was impossible. Until physicists asked a different question. What if time isn't what we think it is? You live in 3 spatial dimensions: length, width, height. You move freely through them. But time is different. You're locked into one direction, one speed, forward, 1 second per second. What if time is actually the 4th dimension? Not just measurement, but a physical dimension, like length or width. Einstein proved this with relativity. Space and time are woven together into space-time. Think of a film strip. When you watch a movie, you see one frame at a time. But the entire film exists all at once. Beginning, middle, end. You just experience them sequentially because that's how your consciousness moves through the dimension. What if the universe works the same way? What if 1900, 2025, and 2020 all exist right now, just in different positions along the 4th dimension? This is the block universe theory. Past, present, future all exist simultaneously. But here's where it gets strange. What if there isn't just one block universe? What if there are infinite versions, all existing side by side? Here's the breakthrough. Time travel isn't about moving backward through your timeline. It's about jumping between parallel timelines that exist simultaneously across dimensional space. Imagine infinite parallel versions of Earth, each experiencing a different moment right now. One Earth is living through 1900, not as history, but as their present moment. Another is experiencing 2025. Another is living through 2200. These aren't the same Earth at different times. They're separate worlds with independent present moments, all existing simultaneously. When you time travel to 1900, you're not rewinding your Earth. You're jumping to a parallel world where 1900 is happening right now. The old model said, travel backward in time. The new model says, jump sideways across dimensions to a different world's present. You're not visiting your past. You're visiting someone else's present that resembles your historical past. So what happens to the grandfather paradox? You're not traveling to your 1945. You prevent that world's grandfather from having children. In that world's timeline, your parallel counterpart never exists. But your world? Completely untouched. Your grandfather still met your grandmother in your world. You still exist. No paradox. No loop. You changed a different world's history, not your own. Imagine infinite photo albums, each containing different family histories. You tear out a photo from someone else's album. That album changes, but yours? Perfectly intact. And here's where it gets stranger. Some physicists believe every choice creates a new parallel world. You turn left. In another world, you turned right. Both exist. Infinite worlds where infinite versions of you made infinite versions of every choice. Right now, as you watch this, you exist. But in a parallel world, another you exists, doing something different. In another, you made a different choice this morning. In another, you took a different job. In another, you don't exist at all. Every version is real, happening now, not future, not past, now. In some world, dinosaurs are still alive. In some, humans are centuries ahead technologically. In some, civilization never developed. Every what-if in history is reality somewhere. In infinite worlds, you've died. In infinite worlds, you've achieved your dreams. Every path you didn't take, a version of you is taking it. Which raises the question, which one is the real you? The answer, all of them. There's no original, no prime timeline. Just infinite versions of reality, all equally valid. Is this real science or thought experiment? It's real theoretical physics. In 1957, physicist Hugh Everett proposed the many worlds interpretation. In quantum mechanics, particles exist in multiple states until observed. Traditional interpretation says observation collapses possibilities into one state. Everett said, what if nothing collapses? What if every outcome happens in separate worlds? When you measure a particle, the universe splits. Both outcomes occur in different worlds. Because quantum events happen trillions of times per second, reality constantly branches. This interpretation is controversial but not fringe. It's debated seriously by physicists worldwide. Mathematically, it works. It's consistent with experiments. The catch? We can't test it directly. If parallel worlds exist in separate dimensions, we might never observe them. but quantum experiments show behavior easier to explain if multiple realities exist. Could we actually build a time machine? Not with current technology, or anything we can imagine soon. We'd need to understand dimensional mechanics, create stable wormholes, navigate infinite worlds, and harness energy levels requiring entire stars. Right now, we've proven time dilation at high speeds. Astronauts age microseconds slower in space. But jumping between worlds? So far beyond us we can't estimate when or if it's possible. However, in 1900, moon landing was fantasy. 69 years later we did it. Technology accelerates exponentially. What seems impossible now might not be in centuries. The math doesn't forbid it. Physics as we understand them don't make it impossible. Theoretically possible? Yes. Practically feasible? Not yet. Maybe not ever. But maybe. Let's end with what should keep you up at night. If parallel worlds exist, every historical what if is reality somewhere. You're alive now, but in infinite worlds you've already died in infinite ways. And in infinite worlds, you've succeeded beyond imagination. Every version of your life is being lived right now. Here's a disturbing thought. If you jump to a parallel world and jump back, how would you know you returned to your world? What if you return to one that's 99.99% identical, but not quite the same? Would you even notice? What if you've already jumped timelines and don't remember? Some people remember events differently than they occurred. Different brand spellings, wrong movie quotes. Most call this false memory. But what if some jumped timelines unknowingly and remember their original world? You think you're the original you, but there's no way to know. You might be the 100th version to experience this moment. You might have jumped a dozen times. So let's bring it home. Time travel isn't about rewinding your timeline. It's jumping to parallel worlds where different moments happen now. The grandfather paradox doesn't exist because you're changing a different world's history. Parallel worlds solve the paradox, but reveal something stranger. A multiverse, where every possibility is real. Infinite versions of you live infinite lives. Here's the myth bust. Time travel isn't about changing your history. It's visiting someone else's present that looks like your past. If this is true, somewhere, somehow, every version of you is living right now. So here's my question. If you could jump to any parallel world, which would you visit? Comment below. Subscribe for more. Until then, remember, you're not moving through one timeline. You're moving through infinity.